welcome to Sure is Good. I am so excited to be back. All right, so today I am going to be making, now this is going to be a baked salmon. I'm going to kind of make it in kind of like a stewish type, but the difference between it, the reason I'm not going to call it a stew is because it's not going to be in any kind of sauce. However, when I say it's a stewish type, it's going to be because it is going to be cooked with vegetables and and I'm gonna prepare it to be put over rice. So we're gonna be using salmon, right? So now I have a pack of salmon. It's already cut up into pieces and it's individually packed. And it's frozen, right? So I've waited till it's defrosted. I have 3 packs here. Waited till they're defrosted, and I am going to cut them open and pour out the liquid. Rinse them out. Right? Cut them open. I'm gonna pour out the liquid, rinse it off, and I'm going to place the salmon in my cooking in my pot here. Right? Just make a slit in it. Take the salmon out. Just give it a rinse. Doesn't have to, I'm not doing any heavy cleaning with this, right? You just want to rinse off whatever juice it got in there from it being frozen. Simply rinse back and front. So this salmon, and the reason I'm using frozen salmon is because I don't necessarily buy my meats and cook them as soon as I get them. So in order to keep them from going bad and to have them be able to be fresh longer, keep them from going bad, you want to freeze your meats, right? So once you freeze them, you take them out, and you can either put them in the refrigerator overnight and they will slowly defrost, and that's healthy. But you want to make sure that you cook them the next day, right? Don't let them sit in the refrigerator and just for days and days. Don't do that. Even if you're marinating, you put them in put them in your seasonings and your marinade sauce. Put them in the refrigerator. Don't let them sit for more than 24 hours in that marinade, because they are truly just rotting. They're rotting. And as much as they're soaking up that flavor is mixing with that bacteria, and that's just a rot fest. So here we go. So I just actually pulled these out and I defrosted them. It had to be like, it's a little hot in here. So they've been sitting out literally for about 10-15 minutes, and they're defrosted. And now I'm gonna cook them right up. I'm preparing them right up. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my, those of you who know me, you know I love my peppers and onion blend. So this is onions, red peppers, and green peppers. So I'm just gonna sprinkle some of them in between I'm gonna sprinkle it around my my salmon. I'm not gonna put it on top, right? Just sprinkle a little bit around. And the reason I'm only using this little bit is because I'm gonna use this diced mirepoix mix, right? So that just simply means it's onions, carrots, and celery. Now, whenever you're making a stew, you want to use onions, carrots, and celery in the stew. Now, this is already chopped up because I'm lazy, right? So this is the lazy way. You buy it already chopped up and frozen. Keep it frozen so it lasts, and you can use it over time. You don't have to just use it right away. And I'm gonna sprinkle this in. All right, sprinkle it around. All right. And I'm gonna add, because you can't have a stew without veggies, right? So I'm gonna throw my spinach in. These are green beans. These are string beans. It doesn't matter what cut you use. You know, just go ahead. Just put your string beans. This is full in one place, and that's perfectly fine because I'm just gonna sprinkle them around like this. Spread it around. Here we go. And again, like I am avoiding putting it on top of this salmon. Get it around, right? You're not gonna cover the salmon. That is for the seasonings to do. All right, so we have our mix. We have our onion and pepper mix. We have our carrot, onion, and celery mix. And then we have our string beans, our green beans, as some people call it. I say string. Now I am going to season I'm going to season everything. So I'm going to do another cheat, and I'm going to use a mixed seasoning. This is home fry seasoning. This has a little bit of, it's going to be like a little bit of salty, so we're not going to go heavy on this. But this has a good variety of seasonings in it, so we want to use that kind of as a cheat. Now I'm going to tell you exactly what it has. It has dehydrated onion, garlic, salt, paprika, spices, and natural spices and flavors, so they say. So I'm going to use this home fry seasoning, right? So I'm gonna, it can be like have a little bit of extra salt in it. So I'm gonna use this very lightly, very liberally. And I'm using this because this is a variety of seasonings. It actually has dehydrated onions, garlic, salt, paprika, and then other natural spices, spice flavors. So like I said, I'm gonna use this kind of as like a little bit of a shortcut. I'm just gonna sprinkle it over the top. Right? Okay. I am gonna back it up with some smoked paprika. Now the reason I'm using smoked paprika, I'm using this paprika when it has paprika, is because this has paprika and this is smoked paprika. We want to give salmon, it's always delicious with a nice little smoky taste. So I'm gonna put this more specifically on the salmon. Not necessarily on the veggies, but specifically on the salmon. Now, whenever I'm using anything with salt, you want to back it up with garlic. You back that up with some garlic, because garlic, it just, takes away from that salt effect in your body. Doesn't, it's not going to save you from high blood pressure, but it helps. Then garlic, you also have that flavor, that taste. Now I'm just gonna I'm gonna sprinkle I'm gonna just put some honey over, again, just over the salmon, because salmon is always like, you always want to have like a nice glaze or a nice sweetness to a salmon. It just always just sets the salmon off. So I'm just gonna sprinkle it back and forth over the salmon. I'm not going to put it on any of the vegetables. Okay, so so I'm using a fresh honey. Whenever you use a new honey, I took off the top. Under the top should always be this lid on it, right? That should always be on there, really tight, completely sealed around there. That that way nobody has gotten into that honey and put anything in your honey, right? If you don't have that seal on there, that honey, that's not good. Don't buy that one. Take it back. So I'm sprinkling it over. Okay, and I'm just putting it on a little bit of these vegetables here because they're actually on top of the salmon. And then you cannot just put it in there like this. You absolutely have to give it the olive oil. You gotta go over that with your olive oil. Woohoo! This is gonna be good. All right, and now I'm putting this on the vegetables and on the salmon. All right, this is not going to take long to cook, so I'm just going to put a top on that. So normally I would put some onion powder on here, right? Put some onion powder on there, but I don't have onion powder right now. I'm just going to go over this just like a little bit lightly with this adobo. Again, because adobo tends to have some salt, so you want to keep that salt down. Okay, so now I have the aluminum foil. I'm making sure I wrap it good. I'm going to put this in the oven. Now my oven is already preset for 350. So I'm going to put this in. And salmon doesn't take really long to cook. It takes maybe like 15 to 20 minutes. So in the meantime and in between time, I am going to make my rice. Now I'm going to make a Goya rice. This is just something I had in the cabinet. I like to be able to make things like really quick and not have to necessarily go through the whole process of soaking the beans and doing all of that, right? So I do have quick things like this packaged rice, Goya rice, and this is the rice and pigeon peas. So I have that, open the box, and this is everything in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add water to a pot. I have my pot back here. Turn that on. And I am going to add, this is 16 ounces of water, which is 2 cups. So I'm going to add this whole thing of water into my pot. And once this starts to boil, I'm going to add that whole package of pigeon peas. Add the package of pigeon peas, and then we're gonna cook up the rice. Okay, so now the water is boiled. That really only took, it didn't even take 5 minutes. The water boiled, and so I'm gonna add my packet of Goya, the rice seasoning packet. I'm going to add some garlic powder, and a little bit of adobo, and I'm going to add some olive oil. And just pour the whole bag into the water. Make sure I get everything out. And then I'm just going to stir it to make sure it's all like laid down flat at the bottom. Now I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of garlic powder over the top. Make sure I cover the whole top. Okay. Then I'm just going to add some adobo just to enhance the flavor a little bit. And I'm doing it pretty lightly. All right. Now I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of olive oil. Stir it in. Now I'm just stirring it because I want to get all of the olive oil off of the spoon. That's it. It doesn't really need to be stirred. It's best if you leave it alone, but you know, get the olive oil off. According to the packet, you're supposed to let the rice and the peas boil in the pot for 1 minute, but that's not what I do. So I am going to let it boil for about 2 to 3 minutes. And then I'm going to cover with the top and then switch it to a lower flame in the back and then let it cook for about 15 minutes. So you want to let it cook until it completely absorbs all the water, and it's not firm anymore. It's nice and tender, it's nice and soft. So I'm just going to let it boil for a little bit before I cover it with the top. Okay, so it's been about 20-25 minutes now. I let the rice boil for 5 minutes with the top on it. Then I push it to the back. As you can see, it's in the back. And I put that on low and let it just slow cook until all of the water was out. Right? Turned it off. Make sure you turn it off before it starts burning up in the pot. Right? So you make sure you don't see any water. You take, I took it off. I left it with the top on and let that sit. And now my salmon cooked for, my salmon actually cooked for about 25 minutes. Now my stove doesn't run as hot as it should. So on 35, normally it would cook maybe like 20, 25 minutes and then it would be done. But after 15 minutes, I checked it and it was still super pink on top, completely uncooked, like on the top part. So I took the aluminum foil off. No, so I turned up the stove to 400 for mine. So make sure you check your, how your stove is cooking, right? If it cooks hotter, you might have to turn it down, and you'll know because it'll cook too fast, right? So you figure maybe 20, 25 minutes it should be done. So after 20 minutes, I took the aluminum foil off, checked it, took the aluminum foil off, and I let it sit. It's still sitting in there. Let it sit for another 5 minutes so that it could get crispy on top. It's not gonna be crunchy like fried chicken, but it's not gonna be like a moist. It's gonna have like a nice crisp, like crisp to it. So now I'm gonna take it out. Oh yeah. So I took it out, and now here is my salmon, and here's my rice. Okay. So the rice is really delicious. It's not over seasoned. It's very tender. The beans are very tender. The rice came out perfect. Very good. And then the string beans are mixed with the veggies. That taste. Wow, that's really good. They have like you can taste the vegetables. The vegetables taste really good, nice and fresh. And at the same time, they have just a hint of the sweetness from the honey. You don't taste any salt at all, but they have plenty of flavor. And like no flavor overpowers anything else. You can take the vegetables, you can taste the green peppers, you can taste the red peppers. Everything has its own taste. And it all just mixes in really nice. And salmon. The salmon is really good. Salmon is really good. It's no strong flavor. It's no, it's not heavily seasoned. You taste the honey. Just gives it a little bit of a sweetness. Now, I will say that this is perfect for someone who's watching their diet in terms of cholesterol, in terms of salt, and in terms of sugar. It's not very sweet. It doesn't have salt taste at all. So if you make this, you want to add a little bit more, or you want to add a different seasoning with a little bit more salt to it, or go just a little bit heavier with the salt. That would with the seasoning, because that would definitely give you a little more flavor. It would make it like I'm normally a heavier, more full flavor, like bursting with flavor. But this is it doesn't have like that heavy flavoring taste. So, but you do taste that it's seasoned. It's seasoned, it is good, a little sweet, a nice, just mellow flavor. and it's just well cooked. It's not overcooked, it's not dry, it's nice and moist, and it's delicious. Try it. Let us know how it works out for you. Like, subscribe, and share, and watch the videos to the end. Till the next one.